Session 2 of 3, Predation, Cypher System, Gauntlet Hangouts. Check us out, gauntlet-rpg.com. Cyber dinosaurs, post-apocalyptic time travel. That's all you need to know. So right now I'm going to get to our players. We have 4 characters. Each of those characters also has a dino companion with them. I'll have them describe their dino companion, but know that those companions are actually being, when necessary, played by other players. So you'll see that. I'm going to try and be good about that. Again, if you want to do, a moment of that companion that you're running, just give a holler on that. Everybody will be recovered up to their pools. Once again, time will have passed, so you can reset all your pools back up to full.
Okay.
And we're going to get rolling with that. So I'm going to go from left to right on the sheet here to have people give us the quick pitch on who they are, what they look like, and who their companion is. So let us start with Gibson, who is the leftmost in my Google Drive sheet here.
Okay. Gibson is a savage Karn who predates and has an awesome Ankylosaurus companion named Toby. He is good at physical things, such as climbing, running, intimidation, smashing and breaking things, initiative. He is less good at things like talking to people, pleasant social interactions. And he has a number of sort of melee and strength related abilities, which I'm dying to try out in an actual combat situation. And I think that's about it.
And you were able to use that draw the pack pretty effectively last time, if I recall.
Yeah, a couple times actually.
Yeah, that was nice.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
And you've got a couple ciphers. I don't think you've used either of those ciphers yet.
That's true. I mean, the main thing is, I guess he's heavily modified genetically.
Mm-hmm.
He has very sharp claw-like nails, a prehensile tail, a throat that can make a sound like a roar, like a lion type thing. So yeah, he's pretty damn cool.
Okay.
So myself.
Awesome. Next in our line, equally awesome, is Kaylee. Kyle, can you tell us about Kaylee and September?
Right. Kaylee is a volcanic Karn who moves like a raptor. Kaylee is pretty quick and agile, and so his dino companion is September, who is a T-Rex, which is pretty great. Yeah, Kaylee's good at stuff like jumping, balancing, and being quick, and companion's good at what a T-Rex is good at, which is I think
pretty tall and curious. I notice is the other trait there of September, right?
Right. Other than that, yeah, Kaylee's got a telescopic spear, which I think is really cool. So I'm excited.
That is pretty cool.
Awesome.
I'm jealous.
It's Steven. Now, tell me how I'm going to say your name, because I said it like 8 different ways last time.
Me too, and I think it's kind of interchangeable.
Okay.
So let's go with Lau now.
Okay.
Lau is an empirical Teryx who walks with dinosaurs, and his dinosaur companion is Posh, a vigilant pterodactylus. Posh is, a little bit shorter than human height, I think. Flies, is pretty agile in the sky, and can peck at people. Lau, excuse me, is able to learn from dinosaurs, see what they're doing, kind of anticipate some of what they're looking at, just kind of get an idea of the pack, that kind of thing. And Posh is a recent connection that they're still kind of feeling each other out.
And you're kind of the sort of the technical observer, not exactly a science person, but more of the observer spotter type, right?
Nature kind of spotter, yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You've got some skills related to that. Oh, yeah, and that kinesic that you used so effectively last time.
Kinesic is the skin.
That's the one where you read the body language of the dinosaurs.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I have an inability for intrusions.
That's right. That's right. Good to remember. And you use one of your 2 ciphers, so it's possible for you to reload on one of those. And then finally, Mar. Michael, tell us about Mar.
So Mar is a creative Osean who crafts unique objects. She dresses and acts somewhat flamboyantly and can be a little abrasive. She is good at figuring things out, but often takes a while to think things through, so she's not necessarily great in a crisis. She is accompanied by Houdini, the flashy raptor, who is a mischief incarnate.
And you've got some interesting technical skills there, and some nice people skills, it looks like, overall, right?
Well, I'm good at unpleasant social interactions, not so much at pleasant ones. Like I said,
right.
She kind of rubs people the wrong way a lot of the time.
Okay, so not quite the diplomat.
No.
Fair enough. So last time, the group had traveled to Bonehaven, the 4 of you, to enter into a tournament, the purpose of which was to get access to a place called the Pavilion, sort of a black market site. You'd been essentially given money to get in there and purchase an item that the organization that you belong to believed had been passed on to there. Essentially, the organization called SATI. It's part of the old corporation that originally had sent people back. It's large. It's probably the biggest power in this area since essentially the last commute. But it's factionalized now. It's kind of split. They have a lot of power in the cities, less elsewhere. This is kind of a Bonehaven is a hive of scum and villainy. But you guys have made impression there, a positive impression. And in fact, the essentially a person who trades most in sort of the dinosaur flesh, Arturus, she's been very pleased. She put you up and was happy that you won the contest. And you would have been able to get into the pavilion and do that purchase and get that item to move off to your contact. And there would have been great celebrations. You guys in the city, all of you would have been considered kind of local celebrities. Though as you would be going around, you probably would have seen the people from that Raptor team, giving you the eye as you move through. And of course, there's the other group, the Appalachian group, the Wilderness group. They're less irritated. They're glad that the people that really crushed them were the eventual winners. They take a little bit of satisfaction in that. So what I want to do is sort of hard frame you speaking to your contact that you deliver the item to, who has essentially another mission for you. And then I'll give you a chance, if you want to do anything around in Bonehaven, to talk to people or anything like that, you can do that if there's some scenes you'd like to play out. And then we'll see about moving on to that. Is that cool with everybody? Okay. So like another day after you've been able to get this item from the pavilion and brought back to essentially to your quarters, your contact would have arrived, a woman named Cameo. You've worked with her before. She's not exactly your cell leader, but she's a person that has been your contact repeatedly and has certainly paid your way, and is the one who arranged the money for you. And she'll look at the chrono analyzer that was sort of disguised that you obtained, and she'll be very pleased, and she will say, "Well, I didn't think you'd be able to keep a low profile, and that certainly held true." Was there any problems, any difficulties with this?
I thought it went pretty well.
Darling.
We made some enemies, but mostly people like us.
Good. I hate to pull you away from this victory, but there's a task that needs to be done, something that we're worried about, and we're not sure if there's a deadline on it or not, but we'd like people to set up to look into the situation in case there is. We don't know. But I'm getting ahead of myself. A couple of weeks ago, there was a supply transit from the capital, standard tech materials, building materials, spider silk, some of that kind of thing, as well as some 3D printed electronics. That caravan came up missing, as well as there were a couple of researchers, people that they've invested in. They put implants in for doing observational research. A couple of young people, all part of a SATI group. And it's not the first time that we've had some things kind of disappear off the grid. Less the sense that it's bandits and more the sense that somebody got these things redirected. A lot of people have been putting the pieces together, and they think that this may all lead back to a guy named Rados. Rados is a temporal researcher, part of SATI, but one who had some unorthodox work, and after a few problems, kind of vanished into the SATI bureaucracy. The organization is so spread out. There's so many factions. He just kind of vanished out. We believe that he ended up at a place called the Cawdor Complex. It's an old abandoned research station up to the north, actually set at an active volcano. They use that for geothermal power. But the facility is in a kind of dangerous place, and it's a ways out, so it hasn't been used. We have heard through the grapevine that Rados has been taking these materials, has been, using his contacts in SATI through other factions and so on to get this to support his research. And he may have discovered another method of time travel. That's at least what we're hearing.
Interesting.
And that generally would be a good thing, but we don't think that Rados is going to share it. And that's a bigger problem. The issue is that we don't have a lot of proof about any of this. There's no telltale signs. There's no evidence. And we're not sure what the loyalty of his staff is right now, whether they're still loyal to SATI, whether they understand what's going on, whether they're loyal to Rados. So we're not sure what's happening. He's out in the jungle out in that heart of darkness, and he's got his people around him, but we don't know what their status is. Other issue is that we know that some of the info that we've gotten has probably passed out to other organizations, including probably the Butterflies. And the Butterflies are rabidly anti-time travel. They believe that that there should be no more research into time travel, and that we should all just wait for the asteroid to hit. So there's a possibility that the Butterflies may already be headed that way. We need you to travel there. We need you to locate and confirm if Rados actually has this technology, has developed anything. If he has, we need you to retrieve it. If you can retrieve Rados as well, that's a bonus. But right now, we just need to do that. We think you may be able to go in as SATI people who are sympathetic to Rados, may be able to present yourself that way, but we don't know what the situation is with his people. So you're going to have to observe and figure out what your best approach is going to be. It's a lengthy journey up there, and certainly we'll put money in front of you to cover supplies and all of that kind of stuff. And if you can do it, we'd like you to leave as soon as possible. I have maps of a couple possible routes up there.
Are we walking or taking some form of transportation?
You'll be heading on foot. I mean, we don't have anything that can travel those roads. We barely have wheeled transport between the cities right now.
Okay. All right.
Do you have records on the SATI people that are following Rados?
We don't know who's actually on site. And she will pull up like a 3D sort of very basics hologram, and a guy bald, has little sort of circular implant glasses. You can see that he's got a line of tattoos that run sort of down the middle of his head, almost like a mohawk. And they'll say, that's Rados. So you can recognize him on site. But as for who else he has there, we're not sure. We're afraid to push too hard, as that may alert other people.
What about... Oh, go ahead.
Well, I said my bid.
Do you have any records on the Butterflies and how, what some of their strike teams that we've encountered before?
They're just guerrillas. They blow up SATI facilities. They strike at any place they think is actually providing advanced scientific research. They use dinosaurs. They keep quiet in the cities. There's probably some here in Bonehaven, but even here they'd keep themselves kind of quiet. I don't know if we have anything that would give you any clue as to who they'd be.
Do you know why Rados separated or defected or whatever? Like, did he just go missing, or like was there a simmering like tension or like personality trait in him? Or
he undertook a couple of experiments with SATI equipment at the research facilities at the Capitol that resulted in the destruction of materials, and he got pulled off of active research, and that clearly infuriated him. He certainly thinks he's the smartest person in the jungle, and so we think that that all that has simmered.
Can you provide us with the information that he was researching at the time, so that if he's continuing that research or anything like that, we'll know what to be aware of?
Yeah, I think we can get you a basic set of materials to outline his general field, and it's probably a data pack. I assume that's the kind of things they would do. So you could put down essentially Rados research data pack as an asset.
What else, guys? Anything else we can think of to ask before we go up there?
So our overall goal is to determine what he's up to and acquire any tech he has developed.
If he's actually created some kind of some successful temporal work, we want to get a hold of it so that he doesn't keep it for himself. That's the bottom line. If nothing else, that's what we need.
So the lines between good and evil in this case are a little close.
She pauses and she says, here's the thing, is if he has got temporal tech, and then it needs to get to the broader people, to SATI as a whole, who can do something with it and maybe find a way back.
Yeah, before the asteroid hits.
Before the asteroid hits.
All right.
I mean, I don't know. My father said that the future was awesome, and I'm more interested in that than dying here, of being hit by a flaming chunk of rock. So,
yes, very well. I will lend you my Ankylosaurus.
Good.
Are there any chances that we could hire, like, I don't know, Triceratops or something like that to transport us?
Ooh, or a Brontosaurus?
If they're willing, we have a Toby and a September. I'm just saying.
That's true.
So say, well, you've got two routes to choose from. You can go a more populated route. It's a little bit shorter, but you're going to be drawing more attention, more potential for people spotting you, more potential for enemy action, that kind of thing, depending on who's out there. Most people don't use the larger beasts as transport for just passengers and things. And I mean, also hard to transport your T-Rex. No offense there, but the other route is a little bit longer. It's less populated, probably a little more physical hazards, but does take you out of the sight of most agents, and might be a little bit tougher. And she'll put that map down in front of you with those routes marked out.
Oh, I'm in favor of the fast route, but I'll defer to the group.
She'll say, I should take this device and get going before anyone picks up on what's happening here. I've left you some materials for trading if you need to buy yourself additional supplies, and if you need to contact us, head back to a civilization, and you have the code signs to pick up with any of our fellow agents.
Okay.
Good luck. And she will stand up, pick up the item, and she will head out. And I imagine this probably took place in a sort of a seedy Bonehaven safe house there. If this were a comedy, the dinosaurs would be looking in the windows, that kind of thing. But
excellent.
So welcome to discuss plans, or if there's a scene, if anybody wants to do scenes in town before you head out, or look into stuff, or we can cut forward. What do you think, Stephen?
So I think I'd like to at least pick some stuff up in town. Since this is a long haul, the kinds of things I'd pick up are, survival gear, as well as maybe things to entice dinosaurs, food or, treats or something like that. Or, everybody knows that raptors are going to, ambush you. So I have this, raw meat that I can toss out that they will go after instead. Things like that.
All right. I will say, if you want, I will let you add an asset, essentially to equipment, because I like the phrasing of it, of dino treats.
Okay.
You're able to get some raw meat, some jerky, other things. You probably go to that same person that Mar went to before, who sells some of the dino pheromones. He's desperate because he lost a bunch of money on the betting, and so you'll be able to get some of that stuff, and so you have a set of those.
And I will pay extra. I will pay extra to make sure that he keeps quiet about purchasing this stuff.
Oh yeah, you can tell he's still scared after Mar threatened him last time. She made her belligerence known. So yeah, he's going to keep his mouth shut. Mar, what about you?
Well, so we are resolved to the urban approach.
I don't think we really decided which route we were going to take.
So we can talk about that. In general, I would say that I heard speed was of the essence and secrecy's of the essence. However, they think they already may be blown, right? They think that people may already know.
Yeah, so that being the case, why not just take the faster route?
Well, I would prefer to go through the wilderness. I'm more comfortable there, and there, people who can't be trusted can always be along the populated route. But if speed is of the essence, maybe we'll have to do that anyway. What do you think, Mar?
I think you are probably right. Speed is of paramount importance here. Therefore, I suppose my shopping will be to try and get us the sorts of clothing that will help us to keep a slightly less ostentatious profile.
Okay. So describe to me what that would look like.
Well, I mean, from all of the descriptions, this is like Dino Cyberpunk, right? So I suppose dully colored trench coats are probably not that out of character here. I don't know how we're going to disguise a T-Rex.
Well, everyone has dino companions. Is your goal to kind of make yourselves less distinctive, or okay?
So Maud will dye her hair from whatever ridiculous color it is now and just make it brown or whatever.
Okay. Let's have you make let's say, I think that's going to be a difficulty 5, because you guys have just won a tournament. Word of your presence and your particular lineup has spread a little bit. And it'll be an intellect test.
Okay. Can I construe this as creating a narrative with our clothes that we are nobody interesting and simply, travelers like anybody else?
I like that. Difficulty 4.
Okay. I'll spend effort. I always spend effort.
Absolutely.
What else is my intellect pool for, right?
Right. Difficulty 3.
All right, D20, don't fail me now. Oh, wait, I already have a green D20 out there. Let me just re-roll that. Aha, on the nose.
Just edge it out, okay? So it's some change of clothing. It's dulling things down. It's maybe covering over the cyber tail on Gibson. the things that are like most striking.
If any of the dinosaurs have distinctive markings, maybe smearing them with mud or whatever, so they're less conspicuous.
That seems fair. So it'll be a little bit more difficult for anyone to just go, "Hey, it's those guys," right off the bat. Okay, that seems good.
Good job,
Gibson. What about you? What are you doing?
Well, I'll follow the cue, and I will get some mud or something to kind of pat down my kick-ass super tall mullet thing, so that it's at least down. And the only thing that I'd be curious to ask about
Sure.
is if there was any way to score like some curare maybe.
Oh, you want to try and find some poison?
Yeah, I'm thinking we might want to disable some people without necessarily killing them, depending on the circumstances.
So are you more interested in like a kind of a knockout thing or an actual poison thing? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm interested in a quick paralysis that won't necessarily stop them breathing.
Okay, so that's pretty significant. So if you want to go hunt for that, I'll say difficulty 5.
All right, difficulty 5. Oof, man.
Didn't we have somebody who knew something about chemistry? Could we get the components to that more easily than the finished thing?
Do we have someone that knows about chemistry?
I thought we did.
I think that may have been a character that was not chosen.
I am smoking the crack. Never mind.
There we go.
I got really excited for a second there. Let's see. This doesn't involve smashing and breaking things. Let's see.
I'm not even going to hit you with your inability for pleasant social interactions because you are shopping for a poison. So
that's true. I think that I will maybe try to intimidate a shopkeeper into producing some curare for me.
Absolutely. So difficulty 4.
All right. So that takes 2 points off my speed, right? Or sorry, 2 points off my intellect.
3 points.
3 points. What game am I playing? Okay. Man.
Good luck, Brian.
Thank you. All right. Curare coming my way. Submit. 12.
Yeah.
So you kind of are the guy's like, oh, you won the tournament. You're like, yeah, give me okay, and I will say he will give you a dose of a toxin that can either be used to essentially paralyze one person, or ingested in food could probably essentially temporarily disorient a small group of people.
Okay.
Does that seem fair?
That seems great. Yeah,
okay.
Thank you.
Not enough to take down a dinosaur.
Right.
Okay. And finally, Kaylee.
Okay, so I got 2 angles. I'm not sure which one I should do, so if anyone has input, throw it my way. So either I would like to go out trying to learn about the places en route to try to like spin some sort of feasible story as to why we're going there, and blend in. Or Kaylee also has a history with some caravan people that she saved their butts on a while back. So maybe try to see if I can find them in this urban spot and like get a deal on some supplies like explosives.
That sounds like a big score if you can find them. No, I mean, if they're going our way, then we can travel with them, and then we have our cover story right there.
Well, that's good. I like that one.
I will say This is a crossroads. I will say to hit up and contact a caravaneer that knows you through reputation or directly for you having rescued them. I'm going to say that would be a difficulty 4. And the base level of what you can get is essentially information, contacts, that kind of thing. An awesome roll will get more stuff, but that'd be sort of the baseline of what you could get. Does that seem fair?
Sounds great.
Okay.
That sounds great.
So an intellect roll, difficulty 4.
Okay. Yeah, I'll burn a bit of intellect.
Oh yeah, burn those 3 points.
Because I mean, I don't really want intellect anyway.
Yeah, Brian. By the way, I'm going to do this to you. Your intellect pool should now be 5, not 6.
What?
I only say that because your intellect is so low, and I want you to lose every last.
Oh yeah, I was
just
getting into character by doing bad math. That's
right.
No, see, what he's not telling us is his next encounter is with a monster that does psychic damage.
That's right.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Sit down and play some chess with me. No.
All right. Oh, wrong button. This one. That's what I want.
Oh, nice.
18.
That deserves a special effect.
They will say, yeah, we can, we know some people along the route. You kind of tell them about the way that you're going. You don't want to go that way. You're going to want to break off to the Merchant's Pass over here. It means you don't have to go through the caverns, which are a little bit of a bottleneck. And if you're worried about people, it's one of a couple of places that people might, set up a watch. And they'll actually kind of produce a merchant's token for you and say, use this when you go there. They'll get you through without any question.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah, super.
And consider too that if it's necessary, that right now you've got an asset basically of info they've given you about the route.
Sweet.
Man, excellent.
So while all that's going on, if you don't mind, I'd like to do something else.
Sure.
So as I shop and as I'm watching everyone else kind of split away, I think I'm going to pay very careful attention to everyone around us.
Okay.
And see if anyone stands out, if anyone's been watching us, anyone is paying attention to these heroes and what they might be doing. Anyone's paying an inordinate amount of attention.
Sure. Difficulty 5.
So I have a skill in perception.
Look at that. Difficulty 4.
Yeah, and I'm gonna spend. I don't think I have. Actually, that's. Oh yeah. So I have quick study.
Okay.
Whenever I spend a round to study things, I get an asset on non-combat things.
Difficulty 3.
And I'll spend intellect.
3 points to get you to difficulty 2.
Yeah, let's do that.
There's almost no way you could fail this roll now.
Why do you say these things?
I got a 16.
Okay.
Nice.
There are a couple of different people that are watching you guys. And definitely not associated with each other. They're just kind of keeping an eye on where you're going, making note of that, watching who you're talking to. When you guys split up, they definitely go to follow you or Mar, because they have maybe a sense of who might actually be the brains of the operation, kind of thing.
Or they're looking for an easy mark to steal things from. Yeah,
could be that as well.
Yeah. So I'm going to point this out. So I think about the time that we get ready to leave, I'm going to tell everyone, describe these people and their dinosaurs. This is what we need to watch out for. They could ambush us, or they could be spies.
Yeah. All right.
And you guys can gather your things together. Arturus is glad to put you up for another night. And she will come and say, where you guys headed from here? If you want to stick around, we've got other contests coming up in the next few weeks. I'd be glad to sponsor you on stuff if you're sticking around.
I can't stick around in one place for too often. I really need, the call of nature speaks to me. But we might come back this way since we will need supplies while we're traveling around.
That hold for all of you guys? Or is this
Yeah, just like my daddy, I'm a rolling stone. I can't stick around here. I gotta get going. But might come back.
Okay.
Somebody has to herd these cats.
I mean, I'd love to stay in your spot, but September he goes stir crazy. So
okay. But yeah, seriously, you come back through again. Look, all of us here who run Bonehaven, we all have irons in various fires. If you ever need work, come back to me. I know the others probably keep an eye on you, seeing what you can do. Part of why we do these contests is to recruit people. So I'm sure the Raptor team and those Appalachian boys are already in somebody's pocket.
Well, thank you, but I'm a very bad blacksmith. I will get on my Ankylosaurus and slowly begin to run. Because it's so much slower.
They try to put together the metaphor there. Oh, I see what you did there. Okay. You have fun, Gibson.
Yeah.
And you four can head out onto the road. Definitely, as you are heading out, Lau, you'll see at least one of those guys who was watching you in town kind of ambles to the gate to kind of watch the four of you leave town. Doesn't go out, doesn't set out on the road to pursue you, but just watches you four leave.
Yeah, he's watching. Mar will just turn and give him the stink eye as we walk away.
Okay. He'll do that thing where he sees you watch him, and you get the sense that he doesn't care. Like maybe he's not like they aren't wishing you ill. They're more kind of just trying to keep an eye on your movements because he doesn't kind of look away. He kind of sees. He notes that you've seen him. He nods.
Okay, that was good information there and worth doing.
Yeah, it could be that maybe they just they represent one of the teams and they just wanted us to move along.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping.
Didn't see that other guy who was watching you. Only one of the two. So the other guy is still unaccounted for.
Well, you better hope we don't see him first.
And so you guys will head out onto the road.
Yes. Guys, the thing that I'm a little concerned about is I've noticed that regular humans can get very culty sometimes, and if this if Rados has strong personality, his people might be very loyal. So I just think we should be aware of that, just in case we run into that.
You will head out onto the road now. Of the dinosaurs, which one of you have rideable dinosaurs or dinosaurs that you are riding for sort of fairly consistently?
Not it.
Not it? Okay. So Gibson and Kaylee, but probably not Lau. Okay.
I think that Posh can carry light items just a little bit. Of course, doesn't likes to be more agile, but won't be able to do more than like provide a little bit of support for a person.
As we head out onto the road, Mar will remind everybody to keep an eye on their pockets because Houdini likes to steal things.
And you guys will set out on one of the main sort of caravan road here. You're going to be going along this a ways before you break off onto that merchant pass that was identified to you, and then you're going to have to head a little bit more off the beaten path after that point. And it's probably going to be a pretty easy few days for this first part of the journey. Because you kind of set this up as something you wanted to do, Lau. I think I want to have you on these first few days make another observational roll.
Okay. So first few days, I think I'm going to let's see, do perception.
Okay.
What's the difficulty?
Difficulty is 5.
Okay, so yeah. So I'll do perception to get that to 4, and I will do the quick study to get that to 3, and I'm going to roll at 3 because I think other things along the trip will take my, my pool.
Okay.
And I got a 14.
14. Nice. So you're in and amongst other travelers for this first little bit. People do tend to clump up. Because isolated people on the road here, it's very dangerous. There's a lot of wildlife that's completely out of control. There are some road wardens and things like that, but they're few and far between. But on about that third day, it isn't like a person that you've noticed, but it's probably a combination of you and Posh noticed that you've had a flying dino, like a smaller version of the Petrodon, that has made like a couple more passes than it ought to, given the way that those dinosaurs usually hunt or act. And you suspect that someone is using that to keep an eye on you. Is essentially using Arrow Pass. You can probably see the glint on it. It's clearly a companion. It has some implants. It's probably about half the size of Posh, but it's making passes.
So I'll talk it with the rest of the group. I have 2, I think that we're being followed. And I have 2 ideas. One would be we could feint and try and disappear and cross to another path, so it loses us. Or a second is we could try and draw it in and take care of it. What do you guys think? Do you have an idea?
I favor the direct approach.
Does anybody have any ranged weapons? I do not.
I have Posh.
Posh is a ranged weapon.
That's a very good point.
She also has a headset laser gun.
What?
Dinosaurs with freaking lasers on their heads?
Yes,
is that Posh?
I actually think. Let me see how they record it. I suspect that it is actually your gun.
Okay.
So how hard do I think it would be with my skill in unique dinosaur accessories to modify that sucker?
Difficulty 4. Not too hard. I mean, average. That's it. Question is though, Lau, do you want him to mount a laser on Posh's head?
Posh probably wouldn't be able to fly very well, and since we're getting used to this, I'm not sure how she would react. We could bait this other flying creature, it's not going to be as smart. So we could bait it, and see if we could potentially ambush it while it's on the ground. What do you think?
Sounds good. I mean, you would know how to get its attention, how to bait it down. You're the dino whisperer.
Yeah. And we can just set up a catch net.
That's true. Maybe we do it at dusk so that its vision is a little slightly impaired.
What do you think, Kaylee?
Yeah, I think it's great.
You like that? Okay.
Yeah, I'm in.
All right, so it's standard level 5 foe. So the difficulty to kind of get it down and get it caught is going to be a 5. What are you bringing to bear to do that? And this can be a group effort or a single person's.
So I can bring in Posh.
Right?
Okay. Posh can, basically get around the corner or be kind of flying out of sight, land, so that it would have to come down to see where Posh went to.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about everybody else?
I could set up a scene here that made it look like we have some meat already that made it look like Posh had taken down a kill and there might be leftovers.
Okay. That seems good. You've got some stuff. You've got the skill to do that. So let's say a difficulty 3. Anybody else?
I've got a portable solar light, so I could try to get like a good vantage point and try to like blind it at like an opportune moment.
Perfect. So that takes us down to a difficulty 2. Kaylee, you want to roll that?
Yeah, I do. So it might have rolled. It rolled an 18 again.
Yes.
Yes.
I always feel skeptical of those. I feel like I didn't hit it, but I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah.
So you wait till it's dusk. You've kind of got this planned out. You've dropped some meat to after you've hidden yourselves away to kind of draw its attention, like there's some kill left over. So Kaylee, describe to me what happens then. How does this look when you kind of use the light to take it down?
Well, what's our like attack plan when it's like in the trap? Are we are we all waiting with weapons to like jump out of behind rocks, or?
Well, one thing we should decide beforehand: are we trying to kill it or incapacitate it and hold it as a hostage?
I think you said something about a net, right?
Yeah.
Does somebody have a net on their equipment list?
Well, I mean, nets are.
I have an
very
adventurer's
common.
pack.
I will let you mark off the adventurer's pack and have a net. Essentially, we'll use it like Dungeon World adventuring supplies.
Basically, I think there was some rope in there, and Mara was able to make it into a net.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So just cross that out, and you've got a net. So tell me what that looks like then, Kaylee. You've got a net. You've got the light. What does that look like?
Yeah. So I think it like comes in for the food that we were luring it in with, and then as it's like landing, Kaylee flashes a light with it and gets it to look, and then somebody just comes from behind, and just easily nets it.
And this is a mid-sized Petrodon. You'll get that net over it. It will give its squawk as you wrap it up. You can see that it's got some basic implants in it right now, and you can essentially bear it to the ground. What do you want to do?
The implants, like removing them would not be pathetic for the dinosaur, right?
Well, that'd be really bad.
Do you have any way of tapping into them to know what they do, maybe?
That is a good question. That is not my wheelhouse, but maybe it's someone else's.
That is not.
Well, at the very least, I think we should cover its head with a bag or a sack.
Lau should be good at identifying at least what the components do.
And potentially being able to find where it was going. Might be able to find how it's communicating.
Okay. Got a hold of it. This is a technical task. So I'm gonna be really boring and keep it at a 5.
Wait a minute. I have an asset on tech tasks in as much as I have a toolkit, and I'm also trained in IDing device functions, which doesn't so much go with anything else that I do, so I had forgotten about it.
I hadn't, but you've mentioned it now. So that'll take it down to a difficulty 3.
Okay.
So Mar, do you want to roll then?
I would be delighted to roll that after I deduct 2 points from my intellect pool.
Difficulty 2.
I think I just rolled another 9.
Yeah.
It's weird when they do the same number twice in a row. You can't tell if it worked or not.
Well, it had been an 18 up, so I saw the roll number, the roll value change. So we're good. So let me say that you can identify this. I would like to offer you an intrusion at this point.
Fork it over.
Oh.
Okay. I will give you an XP, and you can hand an XP off to someone else.
Well, whatever trouble I have just gotten myself into, this was all Lau's idea, so I'll hand him the XP and expect him to bail me out of it.
Okay. So you will get a hold of this thing, and you're kind of looking at it, and you realize that
it's an optical laser.
No, you're pleased that it isn't that. You don't like shine it in your eyes or anything like that. But it definitely has like a transmit on it. It's definitely got a visual capacity, and it's definitely transmitting. You guess they couldn't be more than say like a mile or 2 off from here. But when you kind of are pulling that up, something is clearly triggered. You don't know if it's a remote thing or if it's this thing, because you will hear this shriek go out from the dino, and your dinos will kind of shudder back a bit, and you will hear rumbling of something big coming this way, like this, whatever this thing is, whatever this call has gone out, something big is coming. So what do you want to do?
Okay.
I mean, the Earth is doing that kind of shaking there. You know, everything's kind of starting to do that on the camera, Star Trek style.
Was the shriek a one-time thing, or is it still ongoing?
It shrieked, and that's tapering off now.
Okay. Well, that happened. So get Mr. Strongman to pick up the trussed up dinosaur and beat feet.
All right. Where are we going with this thing?
Well, first of all, we're wrapping a cloth over its visual sensor, and then we are going anywhere but here.
Okay.
How about we go back towards the trail where it would be more populated?
You know, that's a good idea.
Just to clarify, the tech thing in the dinosaur, is it like is it like a video thing, or is it like a GPS sort of?
It looked like a video thing, like essentially an optical implant. GPS is much harder because they don't have any kind of satellite system.
Well,
so it's real low range communications for tracing things like that around here. So you're getting the bag over this thing's head, is what I'm hearing from Gibson. While Gibson is doing that, what are you doing, Kaylee?
Yeah, I think we're running.
Okay.
I'll probably like offer rides to anyone who might be slow. Because there's a big T-Rex.
So I'll say you can probably grab one person without suffering any difficulties. Who do you want to grab on?
Does anyone?
In general, is Lau more agile or am I?
I am.
Okay, then with your blessing, I'm gonna put out a bid for that ride.
Yeah, totally. You got it.
Okay. So Gibson is getting this dinosaur wrapped up, trundled up. Lau is jumping on Kaylee's dinosaur, and Mara is jumping on Kaylee's dinosaur. Lau, what are you doing?
I think I'm going to take off. Would there be dinosaurs around here in general? Native dinosaurs?
Yeah, in fact, that's what's coming.
Okay. So I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to observe the native dinosaurs to see the direction that they're running in, because I think they would know the best escape route.
Okay. So I think that we've got sort of three separate roles here. Okay. I think that we're going to start with Kaylee, and we're going to have you roll, and I think we're going to do this as a speed test for you. Essentially to outrun or to get an angle away from our what's the word for them? Sauroposeidons, the group of those that are rushing through the area.
Okay.
Okay. So to avoid damage, I'm going to say a 6 here, and we'll see how much damage you take based on your margin of success. It is a speed test, so what do you have to bring that down?
Okay. So for speed, I'll do the skill of like balancing or initiative, either one.
Sure.
They both work, I think.
Brings us down to a 5.
Okay. For equipment, I have an ornate metal shield that provides an asset on speed tasks. Speed defense tasks.
Take that down. So we'll get a 4 right now.
Got a 4. So I should probably bring that down one more, hey?
Good.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. So I'll do 2 speed and bring that down one more.
Okay, so our difficulty is a 3. You've got Mara on your back. You're riding, and I assume that Houdini is kind of running alongside as you're rushing through. Imagine that you've kind of head off a little bit off the path, of the jungle bits going around. There's unbroken terrain, and imagine that these are not kept woods or kept jungles or anything like that. If you've ever seen when they take forests and let them go absolutely to seed, how dense they are, you're kind of rushing and smashing through those. It's not like, you've got very little space, and so things are breaking. So let's see your roll.
What was it I had gotten it down to? Was it
down to a 3?
Down to a 3. All right. I like it. It's a 10.
Oh, so yeah, you're smashing through there. I imagine that September kind of gets her head down and kind of goes full on. Branches are coming past you. Houdini is leaping in your wake as you're heading away. A more difficult challenge is for Gibson, but to get out. But I'm actually, because you're carrying something, and that's sort of the major difficulty here for you, I'm going to make that a might test for you.
All right.
How could this GM be this generous?
So generous. It's crazy.
Difficulty 6.
6. Okay.
I think running is the obvious first pick, right?
It is.
And I'll let you apply that to this, though, even though it's a different sort of pool. But I think it kind of got a crossover effect here.
Okay. All right. Cool. Then for sure I will.
Difficulty 5.
All right. Let's see. Can I put? What would that be?
You could spend 1 point, and you would get it down to a difficulty 4.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay. Now it's a 4. Look at that.
A 4, man. What else could I do? Let's see here.
Look under your special abilities.
Yeah, let me see. Weapons, damage. I don't want to get
things to draw their attention. He wants them to go away.
Yeah.
I think there's an argument to be made for your companion assisting you.
Oh. Let's see. Oh. When he is within range, I gain an asset on all actions that involve reacting to surprises, traps, time tears, and other sudden occurrences.
That would seem fair to me if you want to do that.
All right. Yeah. Great.
Take it down to a 3. Look at that. Now there's almost no chance of you failing.
All right. So is that a total of 3 points off my might, or 1 point?
It just costs you 1 point off your might pool.
1 point. Okay. All right. Let's see how that goes. So I'm at 3. You said.
So difficulty 3. So a 9 or better.
All right. Piece of cake. Seven. No.
So there is that moment when you're running with this thing, and if this were an 80s film, we'd see the green screen of the dinosaurs coming behind you, but we're paying full-on CG bucks. So things are going smashing, you're leaping, and there's that point when one of these Sauroposeidons, and they're big Bronto-sized things, they're just come running like whatever this screech was, it hit right in their frequency to drive them kind of mad this way. And one of their legs comes past, and it hits you and kind of sends you flying, and you're going to take 6 points of damage.
Oh, man, they're not kidding around. These are the pygmy Sauroposeidons, and
no, these are the regular Sauroposeidons.
Regular Sauroposeidons. So they're so big there isn't even a picture of them, I think.
Yes. Essentially enhance on the picture, and you've got that.
All right, 6 points of damage. Oh.
But you have armor 3.
Ah, that's right.
So tell me what that looks like. Tell me what when you get knocked, and when Toby gets knocked, what that looks like.
Well, the problem is that the pterodon that I'm holding, the hooded pterodon I'm holding, is not happy about it. So it's struggling, despite the fact that it's been wrapped in this homemade rope net. And I'm trying to find a comfortable position. Do I fireman carry this thing? Do I hold it like a baby? Do I find like a over the shoulder? What do I do with this thing? There isn't enough time to figure that out because the Sauroposeidons are upon me. And before I even know what's happened, I've gotten hit by some large muscly object, and I just go flying. My package goes flying in the other direction. I lose track of the Ankylosaurus because I land in the mud and I can't see. I'm not sure which up or down. Am I dying? Am I alive? I'm not sure. It's bad.
And when you come up, you'll know where Toby is, because he is probably crying out with pain, because he will also have taken 6 points.
Oh, man.
Which is 4 points after you subtract his armor.
Okay. So I took that off my might. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Lau, this is a speed test for you.
Okay.
And you've seen Kaylee head off one way, Gibson's head off another. You're taking off. You're kind of trying to get more towards more populated, maybe to get some cover. What do you want to do? Tell me what this looks like.
So I think what this looks like is, like I said earlier, Lau, here's the screech, immediately flushes into the, neighboring jungle, looking to see where the other animals are. And if the other dinosaurs, are headed up the tree, Lau goes up the tree. If the other dinosaurs are headed off in a particular direction, that's where he goes.
Okay.
So.
I'll give you an asset based on that if you want to, because you've got the read the signs. I'll give you that. So it goes down to a 5.
Okay. And I'll spend to make that a 4.
Okay. Goes down to a 4.
And can I use perception on that?
What kind of GM would I be if I didn't say yes? So let's take it down to a 3.
Okay. And I'll roll that. And I got a 16.
16. So what is the trick? What is the thing that saves you from getting crushed underfoot by the Sauroposeidons?
Yeah, so I think that watching the neighboring dinosaurs, of course, Posh takes to the air. And I think the dinosaurs, especially the small ones, because they can get crushed underfoot, they immediately head off, kind of off kilter, not necessarily perpendicular, but just kind of off. And it turns out there's a little ravine there. And when you go into this ravine, they're kind of sheltered from the Poseidons coming through, from the bigger dinosaurs coming through.
That sounds perfect. And you can duck down into there, and there'll be that sort of kind of fall down. Everybody hits, kind of springs to a stop. You'll hear that sound of those Sauroposeidons going off into the distance. The ground shakes and then stops tremoring, and there's just that dust and of various avian things up in the air. They're kind of coming back to settle down. Just kind of the smoke, and you can kind of come up and catch your breath. And that's where we're going to take our 5-minute break, and then we'll come back.
Can I get in a rules check before we do?
Absolutely.
Do Dino Companions have recovery rolls?
Let me see how that works. I think actually Dino Companions, when you take your recovery, I think you recover for the dinos as well.
Oh, that makes sense.
I think that's how it works. I'll play it that way, and then I'll check it after the game, okay?
I added a picture of the Super Poseidon compared to the Brachiosaurus and the elephant in the bestiary. So it's kind of like I got hit by a high rise.
Oh, holy cow. Yeah.
So it grazed you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank God.
21 meters at the head there. That's crazy. All right.
All right, guys. 5.
5.
Hail, hail.
So, splinters, broken ground, paths destroyed. It is dusk, and there's all of the dust in the air and so on. So you've got a couple of choices here. Assuming that you regroup, you could try to fall back and maybe, approach and find who's been following you, kind of fall back on the road, or you could take advantage of the chaos, and it is absolute chaos here. This trade road has been torn up by this to essentially vanish off. What would you guys do? Kaylee, what's your preference?
What is my preference?
Yeah, I'm going to start with you.
It's not the question, but should we deal with that dinosaur thing? Like, is that a threat? Like, should we make sure that doesn't happen again?
Which part?
The dinosaur and the frequency freaking out thing.
That's a good question.
I can try to disable it.
I could cut its head off.
That would also disable it.
Yeah.
Well, but would it though?
I don't know.
I would expect Lau to have something to say about that.
I think we could just put some distance between us and our pursuers, and then they wouldn't be able to have the feed any longer. It's got to be a short-range feed, right?
Yeah, probably it stands to reason.
True. Right now, you've got a bag over it, so clearly its observational ability is impaired. Depends on what you want to do with it. You don't know whether this thing can, as Kaylee suggested, generate that sound again now that you've got it kind of locked up or not.
Yeah, I'm really thinking I need to go tinkering with these devices and hope I don't short out its brain by mistake.
I think Kaylee's preference would be to just kill the thing and then see if there's anything valuable in the implants, but she's not going to push that too hard. That's just what she would do if she was alone.
And I think Lau steps in and says, "No, don't do that."
I'm right.
The dinosaur is only a pawn in all this. There's no need for it to die.
So, Mar, you want to try and disable the implants on this dinosaur?
I'm going to keep things simple because I am concerned. Like, I have never tinkered with a device that is part of a living creature before. So I'm just looking for the sound generator.
Okay.
I'll just keep the, I'll keep a cloth wound over the lens of the camera.
So difficulty 5. You have a tech toolkit, so that makes it a 4.
Okay. Does crafting include decrafting, like tinkering with?
I'm going to say no.
Okay. Does figuring out circuits, is that a form of puzzle solving?
Interesting. I like that because that's really pushing the border. So yes, I'll give that to you.
Okay. So that's 2 points off my intellect. And actually, I will also deploy, which I should have thought of before, my understanding ability.
Okay.
Now, my understanding of how this works, since I'm using both effort and the understanding ability to affect one roll, I only apply my edge once. So I'm deducting 4 points.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
That takes it down to a difficulty of 1 after all is said and done.
Okay, I'm about to not tick off Lau. Or am I?
We'll find out. It's at a 12, I believe, right?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, you can disable this whatever kind of the vocoder screech box that it has in it. You're able to disable that.
Oh, come on. You're at 12. Can I get it to play disco music?
I'd be glad to have you play disco music like an alarm clock that you can't shut off.
Yeah. Maybe you could turn it into one of those things. What's that thing that Cher uses when she sings?
Oh yeah.
Do you believe in love? One of those things. Yeah.
So let me ask you this then. That takes a little bit of time. Now, are you guys trying to go back to fight, intercept, deal with these people that might have been following you? Or are you trying to get away from them?
In my mind, we are taking out their range visibility so that if they want to continue to track us, they need to come find us.
Okay. So you guys are then heading out onto the road.
Well, I think that while Mara is doing this task, we can't be moving. So I think the rest of us are kind of in a defensive stance to make sure that no one comes up on her while she's working.
That seems fair to me.
Yeah, and then I think heading out on the road is a good idea.
Well, can we do some counter surveillance attempts with your pterodon?
Possibly. We just don't know who. We can't pinpoint who.
No, it could be anywhere. Yeah, that's a good point.
And of course, once you put your pterodon up into the air, it runs the same risk as this thing that you captured.
Oh, true. Yeah. And they might not be so friendly.
I will say that a 12 with a difficulty of 3 is a 9 margin. So I would say it's not that, doesn't take you that long to get this disabled. And so you can get out, under the cover of darkness and this chaos, and probably get a couple of hours more travel to put some distance between you and them, making it very difficult for them to figure out where you are, just because there's no good trail. You could have gone a number of different directions, and they'll have to essentially follow you by guesswork.
No, it occurs to me that there is a flaw in our plan that we should address before we get too far, which is if this mini pterodon is known to them and its scent is also known to them, then they can probably track us by it. So can we, I don't know, smear it with mint leaves or something?
Well, I have an idea. Actually, I kind of like the idea that they can track it to some extent. We can get out of range and then basically trade it away to some traders that are heading in a different direction than us.
Oh, yeah.
You are a smart cookie.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Let's say a difficulty 3 intellect roll to when you find one of these tradespeople, to hand it off to them so that they don't ask questions, and you essentially establish another trail, and you'll peel this group off.
Beautiful.
So I'll do that. Let's see, something good. And you said it was intellect?
Yep.
Okay. So, would glean info help find a group that might not ask too many questions?
Sure. Difficulty 2.
I'll roll that.
Okay. 6 or better.
Oh, I rolled a 6 or a 9. Let me see. That's a 9.
Okay. So yeah, they're like, it's got some nice implants in it. Sure. To kind of look around. You guys are all a little bit ragged, mud covered. They're putting their camp back together. These sauroposeidons have headed off in different directions. And they're like, yeah. And they'll drop a few coin on you, and they will head off essentially eastward, whereas you guys are heading sort of northwest.
Perfect. Well, a much more elegant solution than smearing it with feces, which is what I was going to do. Nice.
I wish I had not disabled that sound blaster.
We didn't want to trap those guys. We just wanted to get it away. Yeah.
All right. Excellent.
So you will head on. The next day, you guys will move, and I'm going to say that Gibson, you're kind of in the lead on this. You've got the map here, and I'm going to offer you an intrusion.
I will accept your intrusion, sir.
All right. So I'm going to give you an experience point, and you can hand an experience point off to someone else.
All right. Let's see here. Let's give an experience point to Kaylee.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gibson, you're coming up down the road, and you can see up ahead is the river, pretty high, raging river, and the bridge. But it looks like the bridge to cross this has been knocked down. It looks like the Sauroposeidon pack set off a chain of other things, and there was a stampede across this, and the whole thing went down in the river.
Oh.
And it looks like it's going to be a while before they can essentially start pulling materials back together and do some 3D printing and rebuild this thing. So how do you guys get across a river?
Oh, man.
I possess an inflatable wet weave raft, which holds...
Wait, what?
What?
I can't even make this up.
Awesome.
These goddamn pre-gens.
Now that would take care of us, but not necessarily the dinosaurs.
That is true. This will not be an obstacle for Posh, but the other dinosaurs, like, I'm not getting anything with claws in an inflatable raft.
Well, September can probably just cross, right?
It may be a tough crossing, but September could try and cross. Kaylee would have to convince September to cross the stream.
All right, and obviously Houdini and Toby are just too low.
Toby could try and do it, but it is a little bit risky. He's going to be more hesitant to get across here, unless you can figure out some way to help him cross.
We could try and scout out a better passage from where the bridge is. Yeah, but you'd think that they would have put the bridge where the best passage was.
That's true. However, you could scout to see if anything got knocked down to help out with that. Do you want to try and scout for a ford here, Lau? You've got
sure.
the best aerial observation for that.
Yeah, I can do that.
Then let's say difficulty 4.
Ford is.
Difficulty 4 to get Posh up and to spot something like this, and essentially to create an asset to enable Toby to cross.
Okay. So I have perception.
Goes down to 3.
And that's probably just about it. So
Okay.
I'll roll it at a 3. And I got a 14.
Okay.
Ah.
So tell me what this is, this spot that will help Toby get across.
So where the Sauroposeidons actually, at least one of them went through this process and knocked down a lot of debris and crossed itself. So like messed up the banks and kind of made these huge divots. And then basically the trees and the branches and stuff kind of became a makeshift dam. So it's not, it's this mucky, halfway dammed up kind of thing.
Yeah, like it could fall apart at any moment. It could give way.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Do you want to try, Gibson, to convince Toby to go across this?
I do want to try to convince Toby to cross this.
So your interaction difficulty, because you're tier 1 for your dinosaurs, is a 3. essentially to give them sort of a direct command to do something they might not want to do.
Okay. So I'm at a 3 right now.
Yep.
Let's see. I think I might. Can I use draw the pack on him?
Now, because I think that's more about drawing their attention to you rather than you giving orders to a companion.
Okay.
Well, maybe once he gets to the other side to call them to him.
That's an interesting idea. If you want to try that, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to go. I'll give him the most a command that I can to get the ball rolling.
Okay.
And then I will get across, and then I will let out my rebel yell.
Okay.
And
okay.
draw
Well,
him.
so we'll do that test and roll once we see whether you guys have drowned or not. Kaylee, do you want to try and convince September to go across?
Yeah. I'm gonna try that.
Difficulty 3.
So could I spin that to have my companion ability help knock that down one? So what I'm kind of imagining is Kaylee, when she gets to the other side, finding some sort of like high vantage point, and then kind of like scouting, and trying to find like, the easiest way for September to get across that.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. Let's take that to a difficulty 2. That she'll find a spot that she's willing to cross at.
Awesome. And I'll probably just roll that, I think.
Okay, so
I feel
6
okay with.
6 or better.
Now I wish I had spent some assets, because I got a 5.
Now, before I go on, I could certainly have you re-roll that. You want to spend experience points. On the other hand,
right.
If you get 4 experience points, you're going to get to buy something.
Well, that's really close. So,
yes, that looks so close, doesn't it?
So the stakes are
The stakes
September.
are that September is going to take some damage. She's going to listen to you, but she's going to end up going in the water over her head and take damage.
I don't want that to happen, but I want to experience decisions. Yeah. I'll burn an experience.
Oh, look at
I
you
like
for
September.
your companion.
I know.
Okay. Now re-roll.
All right, that's an 8. So
Okay.
So that
Nice.
worked.
So there is that bit when September 1st kind of goes in tentatively. Stephen, tell me how September does this.
Yeah, so I think September actually gingerly steps on this like dam area and kind of gets through a little bit, and then doesn't really like the footing, so kind of steps off. And whenever September steps off, it's a big drop because the water's been coming up in the dam, and comes down, and you see the head go beneath the water, and everybody kind of gets real nervous, and then the nose comes up so it can breathe and kind of continues walking along the bottom to get out.
September probably doesn't look particularly pleased when it gets to the other side there. Kind of that great gouts of water that it coughs out.
But she's really clean.
Yes. Brian, what is Houdini thinking about all this? Houdini has seen the dinosaurs go across. Houdini realizes what is coming. What does Houdini think?
Houdini is already across because it was standing on top of September's nose.
That does sound like Houdini.
You know what? I'm going to say difficulty 3. That seems fair. That seems fair to me.
To persuade him to do this?
Yeah.
We made a point of having raptor treats, so I will dangle them also as bait from the other side.
Okay. Put that on the nose, so both of them are competing for who's going to get the raptor treats a little bit there, but difficulty 2. You may roll, Michael.
I got a 15.
Oh yeah, clambers on the back. So when September does go underwater, it's first it's Houdini's nose that comes up, and then it's September's nose, and then it kind of rise up like those birds that sit on the hippos. I imagine a little bit.
Yeah. But with a swelling orchestral arrangement, as they emerge from the water, I think that's for sure.
And I imagine that when September hits the land, she probably shakes Houdini off. And then it's Posh is able to just right.
Yeah,
man, must be nice.
So you four just need to sail across this river. Essentially pick someone to do it, and I think it's going to be essentially a boating to make sure it doesn't capsize or go over. It's going to be a difficulty 4 might test to get it across without problems. Who wants to do that?
One of you lucky guys.
Well, can I observe the area to find the best place for us to launch where we have the best chance to get to the other side before there's whitewater?
Sure. That so that'll be an intellect test to get same difficulty.
Well, I was going to use my understanding ability.
Ooh, that's right. Spend that, and we'll get it down to a 3 difficulty for the might test. Which of these stout yeomen wishes to?
I could do might. I could burn some might and make that a bit easier.
Okay. So you're at a 3. If you spend 2, you'll get it down to a difficulty of 2. Do you have a skill that applies there?
I'm looking, and well, we're in a boat, right? Yeah. So balancing, right? Like.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Let's take it down to difficulty of 1.
Right.
Almost no chance for you to fail. And capsize everyone into this river.
I got a 13.
Okay. What does this boat actually look like, Michael? What does Mars' boat look like?
I do not know what wet weave is, but since we are
let's figure it out.
In the past that is in the future, and since it's a raft, like obviously it's going to be put in water, I'm going to say that it is like before it's inflated, it's basically just a big ball of string, and once you throw it in the water, there's a chemical reaction where the string absorbs the water and some kind of like foam stuff puffs up in it, and it turns into like a big floating bird's nest kind of arrangement.
Nice.
That sounds great. And you'll do that. You can get that off. You guys can sail over to the other side. There are probably some people here who are kind of putting the bridge back together, who kind of watches as you guys do this, and maybe some cheers as they see you actually make it. People, money is changing hands. Bets are being paid out, and the 4 of you can get back onto the road. Your animals are there, and you can set out again. This has also left a barrier behind you for anyone pursuing. You've both thrown them off the path.
Oh yeah.
And the terrain is significantly more difficult for them to head through.
I don't think the wet weave is deflatable. I think we will have to leave it behind. So the question is, do we want to just leave it in case we can use it again when we get back? Or do we want to destroy it so it can't be used to pursue us?
I think we should destroy it. The bridge will be at least semi-repaired by the time we come back. And if it's here, they could easily convince someone to, come get them.
Okay, it's basically just full of pool noodle now, so if anyone has a blade, I imagine it wouldn't be hard to chop it up.
Yeah, I mean, it probably turns into like ramen at this point. Yeah. Delicious.
It's probably maybe not delicious, but it might be edible.
Edible, yeah. Cut some strips off of the boat.
Yeah.
And,
And the four of you can proceed on the road. Be another day or two heading on. You're following the map and the guidelines that Kaylee's contacts provided. So you'll be able to hit onto that. And there's that break in the path where you don't go towards the cavern, which is a little bit quicker, but is a bottleneck. And instead you head for the Merchant's Pass. This is an area kind of controlled by some caravaneers and stuff. And so when you approach, one of the caravan masters will come up to you and kind of look and will say, this is merchant held territory. We don't allow just anybody to pass through here.
Who has the medallion?
Kaylee does. Kaylee will step forward and say,
whichever one of us is good at talking.
"Oh, well, yeah, that's not Kaylee so much."
I mean, it's more Kaylee than it is anyone else.
Yeah, we all kind of suck at that. Actually, Lau's not terrible, I guess. It's you and Lau.
You've got the medallion. Go for it, Kaylee.
Got this medallion,
Sure.
so that's going to reduce the difficulty. So to kind of use this in persuade, and we'll say difficulty 3, given the medallion.
Okay. So I kind of feel like I'm just straight up rolling that.
You could spend intellect.
Oh, it's intellect.
Yeah. And don't forget, you guys can take a recovery.
I was going to say before we
Oh, yeah.
spend a recovery.
Yeah, if you guys want to spend a recovery before we move on, feel free to do that. The first one is essentially an action.
Okay, yeah, and it's D6 plus 1 of. We can put those points wherever we want. Is that how that works?
Wherever you want. Yep.
Okay. Heck yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yay, 5.
It's not like Blades in the Dark where you overroll and then you have to go overindulge your vice.
Okay, yeah, and then I'll do that.
Okay.
So that puts me at a 2 for that roll. Is that right?
Absolutely.
All right. 16.
Beautiful.
I know you helped out the Jaegers a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. How'd you guys come in? You know, there've been some people asking about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of people.
Not merchant people. We sent them off, but a couple of them came through. People vaguely matching your group, asking about them. I suspect they headed over to the canyon way because we told them that, you know, if they weren't merchants, they couldn't come through this way.
Oh, that's good.
Fortunate.
We'll get you on through then. It's going to be a bit because we have to get you on the baskets to get you down the ravine to the road.
Oh.
Do we have anything that we could leave behind in gratitude?
Let's see.
Anything you guys want to do to kind of tip them?
Let's see.
You don't have any shins.
I don't have much.
I can give them my dupe, whatever that is.
Dupe is like tobacco.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Luxury item.
Yeah. Oh, it's like, hey. Oh. It's good. Yeah. If they come back through, we won't say that you came through here, Kaylee.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I'll tell Bosco that if you come back this way, that to send the high sign, and you can come back this way if you're heading.
That'd be great too. Excellent.
And you go up the merchant pass, and you can see they've got cables and rigging and these baskets that are a combination of steel weave, spider silk, and metals and reclaimed stuff, and essentially that's how they're taking cargo up and down on this almost like ski lift kind of thing down into the valley below. And they're big, and they've got machines to run even dinosaurs up and down. They will have to separate you. They can't take all of you in one load, but they will do that. Let me ask, what is Toby's reaction? Kyle, how do you think Toby reacts to being put in one of these things?
Yeah, not thrilled. That's for sure. Yeah, I think it's very confusing for him. He doesn't understand what's happening, and then like before he knows it, he's like
moving
in the air, and it's just like, at that point he's got nowhere to go, so he's just.
Is he hunkered down, or is he more curious?
No, I don't think he's curious. I think he starts like panicking a little bit, and then like the thing rocks a bit, and that scares him even more, and then he just like hunkers down like turtles.
A very low center of gravity. Yeah.
Gibson, how do you calm Toby?
Instead of using my animalistic roar, I instead sing a beautiful song that I have been singing to him since he was a pup. What are they when they're tiny?
Well,
baby.
They actually call them pups. Yeah,
pup. Okay, yeah. Ever since he was a pup, so yeah. So it's sort of like you can kind of hear it through the canyons, and it's sort of like a male version of Enya. Yeah.
That seems great. I'd like to offer you an intrusion, Kaylee.
Yeah, I'll take an intrusion.
I mean, did we ever say no? Come on, bring him up.
Yeah, I'll give you an experience point.
I will
point off.
I will take an experience point for sure.
Who gets the extra?
Is anyone excited about a thing at fourth that they can buy? I don't even know what the things are yet, but
at fourth, you could add an edge. You could add a skill. You could increase a pool by 4. Those are the big ones.
Okay.
Increase your effort as well.
Okay. I'll throw one back to Gibson. I guess.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
So now you can choose whether you want to spend those points or save them up for those rerolls.
Man, when would I make that purchase?
You can make that at any time.
Okay. Wow.
But I'll come back to you in just a sec.
Mm-hmm.
September takes one look at this contraption and goes. There's a little hands come up. It looks like she wants nothing to do with this.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair.
How would you do this? It's this kind of pushes up. I mean, more difficult than your usual interaction. How would you convince her to do this? Because she's probably actually getting antsy. Like she's moving around, and imagine how a T-Rex gets antsy in the midst of a bunch of people.
Sure. I think what Kaylee does. Can I use a Cypher? Can I do that mimicry thing for an hour?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to. I think Kaylee's gonna intimidate her. I think there's not much that intimidates a T-Rex. But something from their past, from when it was like really young.
Are they like dogs? You picked her up when she was a pup, so now she thinks you can do it again?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say that's going to take it down to a difficulty. It would have been up to, so it's down to a difficulty 4 right now.
Okay. Oh, jeez.
And the point is to try to relax him. Is that right?
To get her to agree to go in. Anyone have any other equipment or assets to offer onto that?
So here's a dumb idea, but I seem to spend a lot of my time making dinosaur accessories. It's just a natural flair. Do we want to try some blinders?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Sure. Yeah.
A giant T-Rex blindfold.
Okay.
Excellent. We're using the Cypher System crafting rules.
Yeah. So difficulty 3 to make that'll actually fit onto a dino here. Let's say.
Okay. I'm not going to augment that, but I am trained.
Okay. So difficulty 2.
Okay. So let's see what I get. I got a 6, which
just barely once again. A far cry from your 720s last time. So
yeah, right.
I'm pleased that the worm has turned. So yeah, you could get this. What is it? What does this dinosaur set of blinders look like?
So essentially, I'm thinking like, I suppose, yeah, dinosaur blindfold kind of sums up the visual aspect. But dinosaurs are heat sensitive as well. So probably like, take some, not hot, but like warm rocks and sort of fix them with cloth over the heat receptors so that he doesn't know that he's going where it's very cold in the open air.
Okay.
Just makes him feel like he's safe and he should nest.
So we've got the blinders on. You've got the mimicry. It's down to a difficulty 3 now, Kaylee. Do you want to roll with that, or do you want to spend some from your intellect pool?
I'm worried about my intellect because that would bring me to a 1.
That makes us worry about your intellect too.
You got more recoveries though.
Recovery roll left though?
Yeah.
Well, I do have. Yeah, I did 1 recovery.
And you get you get an additional recovery with the calm before the storm.
Right. Yeah. I don't want this to fail.
Okay.
I feel like we're pretty invested in this
Difficulty 2 to do this. She's gonna go, but the question is how much of a problem this becomes.
Okay. That's a 2. I rolled a 2.
Okay.
The gods are determined to keep you from leveling up.
That's kind of what I got to do at this point, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do that one more time. That's
perfect.
Oh, okay.
So there is that moment when you get her convinced on, you're kind of talking to her, you're riding on her, and it's that moment when it first starts off, where when she's first on there, she starts swaying, and all of the merchants are like, no, and what is the mimicry you're doing that actually does keep her calm then?
Yeah, I think
gets her set.
I think it's a complete intimidation, like when a dog's acting up and you put on your like really mean voice. I think it's that, and it's just like a sharp scalding of like, no, like lie down, be a good T-Rex.
Yeah, and all the merchants are like, whoa, because that voice comes out of you, and said that, and it will go down. On the other hand, I imagine that Posh and Houdini dig this. I imagine that Posh enjoys being on this crazy flying thing, right?
I think Push
Doesn't ride it.
I think no. I
Oh,
think
that's right.
Push probably just sits on Toby as he goes down, right?
It's like flying, only he doesn't have to waste energy. And Houdini, what's Houdini like on the ride down?
Oh, that's a good question. What is Houdini like on the ride down?
I think that Mata is carefully watching him to make sure he doesn't tinker with the device's workings. Like, ooh, shiny bolt.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things in this this basket.
Her primary task on the way down is just to keep him entertained.
Yeah, and she's probably looking around, and you will see some merchants who are up there watching you that are like, "Hey, where'd my pouch go?"
More like, did you know that Mar could juggle? I had no idea. Like, pay attention to me. Pay attention to me.
And you will ride this down over this ravine again, that great greenery of the jungle below, and get down to the staging point. And this is the point at which you have to kind of break off from the merchant's path. And you ask someone and they say, "Oh, you're heading north? It's a rough road up there. Just be careful." They've seen some time storms up there lately.
Oh, yeah, we gotta keep an eye out for those.
Is there anything else we should know about?
No, have you ever seen guys like? Have you ever seen one? Have you ever been around one when they've hit?
I don't know.
No.
When you'll feel it first, the pressure will change, and then it'll be like a crawling on your skin, like a kind of a electricity, and they form fast. You might see a change in the color in the air. Things start to distort, and you want to get moving. Some of the stuff is just a regular time storm, but we've had the calamities where the storm comes down and it sucks into an area, locks it down, and it's like a hurricane in there. But just in that area, it'll tear that whole zone up. But nothing will come out, nothing will go in. And when it's done, it's just devastation there. So
that's terrifying.
Yep.
So, two considerations here. First of all, I will take the opportunity to reinforce to Houdini that he was a very good boy and did not crash the basket. Also, is there any reason we can't pause and do our 10-minute recovery?
Oh, no, you're more than welcome to do that. Yeah, you can essentially, if you stop down here, these are some merchants layover, so they'll probably brew up what passes for tea here. Kind of a herbal stuff mixed up, pretty strong, dark.
Yerba mate.
Yeah, nice.
And whatever passes for kind of sweets, we'll go through and probably get your nerves jangling. But yeah, you can do another recovery. That'll be your 10-minute recovery.
Perfect. Oh, that's right. And I forgot that when we heal, our companions heal.
Yes.
Okay, that was worth the recovery.
And Kaylee, if you want to, you could take your 10-minute recovery because you get an extra one now, and you can do another recovery if you want right now, Kaylee.
I think I'm going to keep that in my back pocket in case I need like an instant.
All right. So yeah, you guys will get recovered, and you can get yourself set and head out onto this road. Travel through this jungle here. You've got the map. You've got some guideposts, and we will head on. Lau, you're really the person with the observational skills. You're the spotter, right? So when you guys are marching along, traveling along, you and Mar both have the smallest dino companion, so you're a little bit more mobile. how is it that you are doing your sort of forward observation or spotting? How does that work?
So the way that it basically works is Posh is circling up above, and if she notices something that is likely to be a hazard or anything like that, I think she goes into a sudden dive to show that there's an alert in the direction of wherever this would be. On the ground, I'm actually going through and looking for. I pay attention to the native dinosaurs to see, which direction they're going. Are they, are the herbivores avoiding an area? Maybe there's a big carnivore there. Are they calm, or is there something excitable? Maybe there's paths through the jungle that might make it a little bit easier. That kind of thing.
Perfect. Let me have you make a perception roll. You're going to spot the thing, but I want to see how much other info I'm going to give you.
Okay. I got an 18.
Okay. So, as you are moving ahead, I mean, Posh will come down. It kind of points. You can see in the distance. Now, if you've been traveling for a couple of days, that sort of smoke from the caldera of the volcano off in the distance, you figure you're probably maybe half a day away now from the Cador complex. But you will see along the path in the clearing up ahead a glint and a distortion that you will recognize as a time anomaly hanging in the air on the path up ahead. Not a time storm, nothing like that, but a time anomaly. You can see it shifts as you look through it. You see different. The jungle looks different through it. You see it at different stages, different seasons, different bits, and maybe even be flashes of people, maybe even of yourself for a moment in this distortion hanging in the air. These are useful because if you use them, you can regen ciphers. Essentially, this is how you clear. If you have ciphers that if you have room for them, you can go into one of these and get another cipher.
Are they dangerous?
Not when they're this stable. You can kind of make a judgment on that. It doesn't look like it's gone wild.
Okay.
Now I have a vision of it spitting out Mardi Gras bees.
Yes, it could.
I have a special ability that relates to time anomalies.
Okay.
That I think I will invoke here. It's going to cost me an intellect point, and I'm going to perform a time tap to ask it what is the most. To ask it what kinds of technological equipment Rados has brought up this path.
Okay. So you'll kind of move forward. What do you suppose that looks like when you do this time tap?
Well, it says I'm making use of some kind of device. Okay. And well, I'm trying to draw information out of it. So my imagination is that it works something like Wi-Fi. So taking out a little, well, I'm working with time, right? So it should look like a chronometer. I guess some kind of Apple Watch looking thing doing an information query.
Okay. I like that. You look for the hot spots, the temporal hot spots nearby, and see which one is open. Get the password on it. And you will have a vision of people bringing that tech equipment, the supplies and things that they described, along with a couple of prisoners. Like clearly those scientists that were they mentioned at the beginning, those researchers
We're not brought here
were
willingly.
not brought here willingly.
Well,
And it
that is
does,
2 pieces of information for the price of one.
yeah.
Ah,
So that's the vision that you'll get.
As far as the equipment, like what, I'm not a, genius scientist, but what
Sure.
sorts of equipment is it?
It looks like they've got the kinds of materials to kind of build and reinforce like larger stuff. Like they need stabilizers or something to build a larger piece of equipment.
We saw the schematics, didn't we, for Rados's earlier research?
Well, you saw the notes on that, yeah.
Does this look like pieces of equipment? Like, is he continuing that research? Does it look like, or does it look more like he's trying to do something new?
If he is continuing that research, it's on a whole nother scale.
Dun dun dun.
Yep. There we go. That's the most sinister way I could put that. Does anyone has anyone used up one of their ciphers and wants to essentially use the time anomaly to regen it to get another one?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same here.
All right. Then let me take a look at I've got this nice list of predation ciphers. Let me see here how many we've got. Wish they had like a random list on these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6,
and for
7,
future reference, if it comes up again, if we end up using some ciphers and you want to recharge them, I do have a time seeker, which lasts for a day and allows me to find time anomalies.
Very cool.
Who do we think is it? Probably Gibson, who is the most likely scrapper.
Scrapper?
Yeah, likely to end up in melee combat.
Oh yeah.
So I will cycle my one. I'm going to take my enduring shield, which will provide an asset to speed defense for one day, and toss that on Gibson, and then fumble around in the time anomaly and see what else I get.
Okay. That seems good. So make a note that for a day you have an asset to speed defense.
All right.
Okay.
So we have room for 2 ciphers. Is that how this works?
You have room for 2 ciphers. You've used up your mimicry. Mm-hmm. So go ahead and roll me a d20, if you would, Kaylee.
It's a 10.
10, okay. Let's see here. Let me real quick mark some things off from here.
What was the thing that determines how many ciphers you can actually have implanted at once?
That's at your tier. You start out with 2.
Okay, so I actually would have to get rid of something then.
No, he activated it on you, so you have that effect on you.
Oh,
right now.
Gotcha. All right, I'm on board.
I'm just crossing out the ones that you guys have already had, so we don't double up. Okay, let me count now. You will get a kinetic harness.
Ooh.
For in place of your Syrinx. It is level 2.
Okay.
Essentially, it allows you to harness energy from movement and move more rapidly. Essentially, once per round, whenever you move, you can essentially, because I'm using movement vaguely, essentially, as opposed to doing sort of a short move and then act, you can make a long move. You can go much further and take an action.
Okay.
And that lasts for an hour.
Awesome.
And then Lau, let's have you roll d20.
I rolled a 3.
3. You will get a companion connector. This is actually quite nice for you. It creates a temporary telepathic bond between you and a willing non-human creature. You can communicate mentally. Anything that you would normally be able to communicate with words, sounds, or action. You have to touch them to activate it. It breaks if you're more than a mile apart or after 24 hours. So that is actually quite sweet.
Goodness.
And then let's have you roll, Mar.
Very well. I got a 3, which I think we have already had. So
I'll skip past that, and we'll go to the next possible one. Oh, this is so you will get a data hack.
That sounds promising.
Okay. You activate it by putting your wrist against a device that you want to hack into.
Oh, nice.
And you can pull information about a skill into your mind. Essentially, if you find, when you guys get to like a computer or anything that has data on it, you can pull out, let's see here, because this is appropriate, you can pull out and be trained in time anomalies for 6 hours.
Excellent. What level is it?
Level 6. And so you guys will do that, and as you kind of finish that out, the time anomaly will collapse. There's probably that last minute you'll see just a reflection of yourself, but all of you, and maybe you're wearing different clothing. The dinos look different. They're colored a little bit differently, and then there'll be that wonk as it fades out.
Well, that's encouraging. It probably means we make it back here.
Maybe.
Or there's an alternate reality.
Yeah. Or we're just brains floating in space, and this isn't even real, man.
It's a simulation. And so all of you will press on down this path, and kind of probably head up, and we'll get that bit where you guys kind of maybe get up onto a rise, and you can see off in the distance sort of a like an entryway and a little external compound for the Cador complex. You might see a patrol of a couple of SATI officers with some raptors, and that sort of the smoke rolling out of that volcano. And that's where we're going to start next time, is with you on site at Cador complex.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to give everybody 2 experience points.
Woo, I'm rolling in it.
Okay. For essentially discoveries. At the start of the next session, I'll check in with everybody and see if they want to spend, if any of you want to spend XP to get things. I'll put out a list of what those are. Basically, it's increase in edge, increase your effort, so you can essentially put 2 levels of effort into into your actions, add a skill, or increase a pool. Are the basic ones you can pick from.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you guys very much. I hope that was okay.
Yeah,
I do like these dinosaurs. This is so it's goofy fun. We will do roses and thorns at the end of next session. And the next session we'll wrap this up.
All right,
Nice.
sounds good.
All right.
Very cool.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Yeah, you
Thanks,
do.
you too.
Stay warm or cold as the circumstances require.
Sounds good.
All right.